Greetings, one and all. Well. The last few days in the Elite Ice Hockey League have been something straight out of a thriller novel, haven't they? Be it awful suspensions, fan backlash, or independent reviews, the league officials and the league Department of Player Safety have been in some very hot water over the last few days. Whether you have been keeping an eye on these events but don't know the whole picture, or you are somehow blissfully unaware of what has been happening, let me tell you the story of how Sheffield Steelers forward Colton Fretter broke the Elite Ice Hockey League in the Frettergate scandal. It all began on the 22nd of October when an incident took place in a league game between the Belfast Giants and the Sheffield Steelers concerning Belfast's Spiro Goulikos and Sheffield's Colton Fretter. The video is playing so you can see for yourself what happened, but to sum it up, Goulikos made a high hit on Fretter along the boards, causing Fretter to fall onto the ice. Fretter wasn't too happy with what happened and got up, skated towards Goulikos, who was now far away from where the puck was, hit him to the ice, dropped his gloves and started punching him repeatedly. As a result of these events, Goulikos was initially suspended 3 games for checking from behind and kicking. On the flip side, Colton Fretter was only suspended 1 game for charging. So Goulikos got 3 games and Fretter got 1. As you can imagine from seeing what happened just now, the majority of the Elite Ice Hockey League fan base was outraged by these rulings and made their voices very much heard on the EIHL's Facebook and Twitter pages. Many fans, including myself, highlighted that Fretter specifically targeted Goulikos after he had been hit by him, and a 1-game suspension for charging at someone, knocking them to the ice, and continuing to barehand punch them while they are down is worth more than a 1-game suspension to anyone with common sense and a knowledge of the sport. As a result of the fan backlash, the Elite Ice Hockey League did something that they have never done before and had the incident between the 2 players reviewed independently by Lyle Sietz, a former NHL linesman, and the Player Safety Committee, a global body established for overseeing player safety and discipline to see if any changes needed to be made on the DOPS's original ruling. 2 days ago, the independent review posted their decision. To the surprise of no one, except perhaps some crazy Steelers fans, Fretter's 1-game suspension was increased. However, it wasn't just put up to 2 or 3 games, but to 6 games. A 5-game difference in ruling between the league's Department of Player Safety ruling and the PSC, along with a former NHL linesman. Wow, DOPS, you done messed up. The PSC outlined their reasoning for this ruling, which are seen as willful intent to injure, directly from behind, opposing player was unsuspecting, directly to the head/neck area of the opposing player, use of hands in a forceful manner to inflict punishment, distance travelled with intent for the purpose of punishing an opposing player with physical action deemed recklessly endangering, and caused an apparent injury. In comparison to Fretter's 6-game suspension, Goulikos' suspension was reduced from 3 games to 2, and his 5+ game penalty for checking from behind was removed from his record, which once again shows that the DOPS made a huge mess of this entire situation. As a result of the Frettergate scandal, the Elite Ice Hockey League board are now holding an emergency meeting with league officials, the Department of Player Safety, and league referees to talk about how the officiating of their game should be handled going forward. Until then, Lyle Sietz and the PFC have agreed to look at any incidents up until this meeting has been done and the steps are taken to assist the EIHL in any calls and any decisions that need to be made regarding suspensions. Also, to top the whole situation off, the head of the EIHL Department of Player Safety, Simon Kirkman, was removed from his position with immediate effect as a result of the decision made and the backlash that the department received. In my opinion, this is the best thing that could have happened to the Department of Player Safety. No one, be it fan or player, had really taken the Department of Player Safety seriously for their ridiculous calls in the past. And after this kerfuffle and the removal of the department's head, perhaps the Department of Player Safety will finally transition from a laughingstock to a respectable institution that gives out fair and just suspensions to players in the hope of deterring players from trying to pull the same stunt in future games. It's the responsibility of the DOPS to give a player a suitable punishment. Otherwise, players will just keep doing it if they only get a slap on the wrists every time they run someone into the boards, or headshot them, or kick them, or sleuth at them. A one-game suspension isn't going to deter many players from committing a high-risk play, let's be honest. So there needs to be tougher suspensions, tougher punishments given out to these sorts of players that decide to take the law into their own hands. They shouldn't have to take the law into their own hands. There are referees there, which brings me on to my next point. Also, this emergency meeting for referees to discuss how to officiate games going forward is sorely needed, in my opinion. This season has been riddled with poor officiating, missed penalties, unfair calls, and too many dangerous plays. Sure, stuff like this happens in every league in some form or another, but the extent that it has happened in the Elite Ice Hockey League is just not on, if the league wants to be taken seriously. It's the refs' job to keep the game fair, but also keep it safe for all the players on the ice. Of course, they can't stop a player from deciding to go and charge at another player, but they have to penalise that player appropriately should the situation occur. If a player runs someone into the boards, give them a misconduct penalty and get them out of the game if they're going to endanger the health of the other players. What we saw in this one was Fretter was sent to the penalty box. Well, I mean, he's just ran at a guy, dropped his stick on the floor and shoved him right head first into the ice. He shouldn't be sitting 2 minutes in the penalty box. Get him out of the ice. Whether you're a Sheffield fan or not, he's got to go. Even though this event is something that should never have occurred and hopefully never will again, we should now look towards the good that can come out of this situation. The Department of Player Safety looks like it might be completely overhauled to correctly enforce illegal penalties that take place in the league and punish the offenders accordingly, which is what we really need. And also, the refereeing will be reviewed to make sure referees are making the right calls and penalising players who commit penalties, hopefully leaving no stone unturned and making sure the game is as safe and fair as it possibly can be. So whilst the Frettergate scandal showed some of the league's glaring problems and showed that we really needed to get our heads out of our asses and sort something out here, it might be the catalyst for positive change within the league. So there you go. What do you think about the Frettergate scandal? Do let me know what you think in the comments below, as I want to hear your take on it all. Whether you're a Steelers fan, a Belfast Giants fan, or a fan of any team in the EIHL or the league as a whole, or ice hockey in general, let me know what you're thinking about the call, the change, the overhaul, anything like that. But thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you have enjoyed. Please feel free to like, subscribe, share, or watch some of my other videos. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.